Cheers, Marshall.
Cheers, Cameron. That was a long reach, dude.
That was. We're at a little farther distance today. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the welcome to the Average Apologist podcast. What were you going to say?
I don't know what I was going to say.
I just forgot the name of our podcast. Just went to just welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to a below average apologist.
Well, some of the
podcast.
times for sure, but yeah, we're continuing off. We took a break for an episode, and now we're continuing back with our Matthew 24 deep dive, which hopefully isn't as deep as the last two. Otherwise, we're going to read one verse for this episode, but I think we can get through more than 5. I'm hoping, but we're really not trying to take too long. But these are just really, really fun passages with a lot to offer. So we want to take our time and give you more than just the run of the mill, interpretation. So we left off in verse 7. You said,
I'm pretty positive.
which I said I was going to go back and listen, which I didn't. Definitely, but we can assume that.
We're gonna assume we left off at 7. I'm pretty certain we left off at 7.
Well, the thing is, if we left off at 6, then they just missed a whole episode. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. No, we definitely did 6.
Cool. Yeah, let's do.
Definitely.
So we're starting at 7, is what you're saying.
Starting at 7.
All right, let's do that. You want to read it? Dude?
And we're live.
We're live.
Yeah. All right. I'm reading the ESV.
Which stands for?
The elect
You say it?
standard version.
Dude. I knew it. The first time I heard that was on the Just Thinking podcast in 2020.
Oh, that's an old joke?
Oh, is a very common joke. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
The ESV, the elect standard version.
Oh, my goodness.
You thought...
I thought Brian Gunter came up with that on the spot.
Nah, dude, he probably heard it from a pastor one time.
Oh,
and thought it was so
man.
funny. I said it every Sunday since.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. Well, picking up in verse 7 of Matthew 24, it says, "For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are but the beginning of birth pains."
You want to stop there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Oh, sorry. That was my
Whoa.
mic. That was my mic. No, an earthquake.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah. So this part here, again, I think we established the last 2 times equally, both times, that the focus of this passage so far is centered around the temple. Around the temple. They're on the Mount of Olives, and depending on which synoptic gospel you read, it says disciples or Peter, James, and John. I think maybe Andrew as well. But as disciples, they're asking him a question as they're looking at the beauty of the temple, you know? And, he says, "Surely I tell you, the day is coming, all of these things it will be teared down, not a stone will be left upon another," right? And they ask him, what will be the sign of your coming? And at the end of the age, the first thing they ask you is, when will these things take place? So he's answering their questions. What's in view here is the temple. And so whether we, get away from that later on in the chapter and moving into the next chapter, still so far, what's in view is the temple.
Right.
Anything about the earthquakes?
Well, I think it's interesting because, oh, man.
Famines?
Yeah. You see in Acts that the early church is preparing for something.
Chapter 11.
Chapter 11, there's
verse 28.
Wow, you
I believe.
But there were famines. If you look in Acts, that first kind of that I would say that's like early church history.
Well, let me read this. So this is Acts chapter 11, verse 27 and 28. It says, "Now in these days prophets came down from Jerusalem to Antioch, and one of them named Agabus stood up and foretold by the Spirit that there would be a great famine over all the world. This took place in the days of Claudius. So the disciples determined, everyone according to his ability, to send relief to the brothers living in Judea." And this one's important because there's a couple keys here. First one is, it says all the world. And so if you're thinking cosmically here, the whole entire earth, that's not what he has in mind. And it specifies this took place in the days of Claudius. The famine, you can read actually about the relief. This is the relief of the Judean saints. You can read about in Corinthians and other books of the epistles that Paul wrote. He was bringing the relief, the financial blessing from the other churches. He was collecting, and he was bringing it to Jerusalem to give to the Judean saints. So, a lot of those classic New Testament tithing texts that we use to convince people to tithe, God loves a cheerful giver. What it's talking about here is giving to the saints. Now, I'm not against tithing. Of course, I think we should tithe. And tithe means 10%, which I'm trying to work up the courage to do. But that's an Old Testament continuity thing. We see continuity for the offices. And that's another conversation. You know what I mean? But what we see here is that the world in mind is the Roman Greco world, the Jewish Roman world. And the focus of that is the collection of the saints for relief because of the famine that Agabus prophesied.
Yeah. Yeah. We also see earthquakes in that area. And when I say area, I'm referring to like the Roman world.
Is it Pompeii one of them?
Pompeii is one of them.
Is it, that's 64 AD or something?
It's around there. I wish I looked that up.
AD?
That's like common knowledge.
It's not very common, bro. Like when did Pompeii explode?
You don't think that's common knowledge?
No, I don't even know what area it was in, bro.
Is in Pompeii.
Well, I know that, but I mean, I saw Pompeii the movie with
there's a movie?
Bro, yeah. With oh my goodness, our Bond as a kid.
Our Bond?
Pierce Brosnan was our Bond.
Oh.
He was our James Bond.
Our Bond. Got it. I see what you're saying.
Sorry, our Bond? Yeah, who's our Bond?
Yeah.
Richard Bond?
Our James Bond.
Yes, our James Bond. Okay. You really want me to look this up like on the spot, don't you?
Yeah.
You really want to know. Pompeii.
They're like 80, 71. Well, there's that.
AD 62.
80, 62.
Yep, on February 5th, AD 62.
That's at least one known, earthquake that we can, count back in that area. Whether or not that's part of the signs, maybe not. But but I think it's something to consider.
Right. And there is some literal fulfillment, but we got to understand too is when, prophetic, woeful judgments are given, there's a recycling, a recapitulation, there's typology, there's hyperbole, there's a lot of things going on, not just these specific exact things are going to take place. They might, and sometimes they do, and that's cool. But like the way the Old Testament does this is not always a 1-to-1 ratio of exactly what happened. When it says that their eyes will melt from their eye sockets, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's physically going to happen, but there's a terror and
a fear.
Like when they see it, they will be so terrified on the day of the Lord when he comes to judge that nation.
They can't handle it.
That they can't handle to see it. Yeah.
Right.
That they will shrink back in fear. They will draw back. That's symbolism and verbiage as well. So it's not, necessarily, don't get hung up on the words, otherwise you get hung up on the word world. Yeah.
Let's see.
Anything else?
Well, kingdom against kingdom. Again, we kind of discussed this in the previous verse in the previous episode. But you have the Pax Romana at the time, peace of Rome. So you have guaranteed peace throughout the land that Rome occupied, and essentially Jesus is saying that's gonna crumble.
Yep.
It's gonna crumble right in front of you.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
Yep.
What's that from?
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Come on, dude.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
You know that, don't you?
I do know that.
You do.
I use it all the time.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I don't know.
Bruce Almighty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry.
I would have never
I'm pretty
guessed
sure
that.
it's Bruce Almighty.
You look like you're
Scared.
not confident
No,
in that.
dude, I think it is, man. I think it is. Okay, moving on.
All right.
All these are but the beginning of birth pains.
Yes.
And you want to say anything on that?
I'll let you say something
Cool.
on that.
So the birth pains thing, that is a theme that is so familiar. If you were a Jew and you heard that, the term birth pains, that would really resonate with you, because what that means is that this isn't labor. This is labor. This isn't birth yet. This is birth pangs. This means the hour is coming. This is the stirring, the shaking up, the part when it gets really hard, but it's not the worst.
Right.
This should terrify you. And it should, for those who are his, it should cause us to be hopeful, to persevere. It means this is a time of testing and trying, which is a New Testament theme you see in the rest of the epistles. There was a testing and a trying that was happening. And over again, Paul is like, don't go back, don't shrink back, don't receive the grace of God in vain. You know, to those who believed Hebrews 6 and then went back, Hebrews 10 as well. This is a very common thing. And birth pains, it's good because this does refer here, so far we can see, to local national judgment. But Romans 8 talks about a birth pains of creation of the entire earth. Even that's just a reflection of the greater picture of the whole earth is also in birth pains, waiting for the day that the sons of God can be revealed and it can be made new as well. So that's a fuller picture.
Yeah.
And this here is supposed to mirror as a type of the bigger picture. And that's what we're going to see as we move further into the concept of the destruction of the temple and the ending of the old covenant. Is it's almost like it's like an Old Testament type and shadow in the New Testament, same concept.
Yeah.
A foreshadowing of the final culmination and the bigger picture. It's almost mirroring the process. It's really cool. So
That was good, dude. Yeah. Any father who has stood by his wife.
I didn't stand by, dude.
You didn't stand by when your wife was in labor?
I sat by.
Nice.
Yeah.
But any woman who has given birth.
Birthing person. Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh. I can't believe you said that. I totally can believe you said that.
Yeah.
No, but your wife may have some contractions kind of early on. It could be like 48 hours before labor actually.
Yep.
Well, I guess that's when labor technically begins, but the labor begins early and it comes in like these kind of waves. I wouldn't know from experience because I'm not a woman.
But you have like 1 million kids, so
My wife knows.
yeah.
And I remember even just the last time
There's a dread.
she was in. Well, there's a dread, dude. This last one, there was more of a dread for me. She had a brave face, dude. But in my mind, I'm like, oh man, it's coming. It's coming. We'd be walking, and then she would stop and kind of like have to breatd, and I'm like,
then she would go up and just
okay.
like start punching a tree really aggressively. You're like, whoa, how'd she get so strong? Sorry.
But I think that is a great, a perfect
Picture.
illustration and
Yeah.
picture of what's coming to Jerusalem from Christ.
yeah. And think about how Jesus uses those pictures and ideas. Think about the new birth, right? In John 3, he equates that you must be born of water and the Spirit,
Yeah.
not just through physical birth, through water, but the Spirit.
Dude, you know what's crazy? Maybe this is not sound, but when I think about this
Maybe
too,
it's not sound, but this is why.
this is what I'm going to say. This is why I think that the Nephilim are floating around right now. No,
Okay.
That was so unhinged. No, I think what's crazy is as someone is experiencing, a woman is experiencing birth pain, right? The contractions, it starts off slow and then it speeds up and it ramps up,
Yeah,
right?
there's an increase.
And so there's little signs here and there, and then suddenly it's there.
Yes.
You know what I
And
mean?
It's obvious.
Dude, also, is it interesting that Jesus is using the term birth pains? What happened? What is the end result from this event?
What event?
The destruction of Jerusalem.
the birthing of the New Testament church.
Yeah, dude.
The from the womb of
Yes.
the Old Testament, the old Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem is birthed from the old.
Yeah.
That's Galatians 4, by the way, allegorically. Yeah,
Isn't that
absolutely.
cool?
Yeah,
Like-
that's, yep.
Like it's not
100%.
like Jesus
It's typology.
isn't just saying, even if he was just saying, it's gonna, the signs are gonna be like this.
Yeah.
But he's saying it with purpose. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be like this, and also it's gonna birth something.
Yes.
And that's my church.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
dude, that is so
okay,
sick.
No, that's so good because the birth pains don't just point to labor.
Right.
They point to the end of labor,
Which
which
is-
is the joy set before
Ew,
the mother.
yeah, dude.
Yes. So 100%, dude, I'm so glad you said that because the bigger picture here is not the destruction of the temple.
Right.
That is the means to the bigger picture.
Yes.
That is just pointing to the bigger picture. And, when you deal with full preterists and people who go way too far into the whole 70 AD thing, it gets frustrating because that becomes the big picture. That becomes
That is-
everything.
yeah.
That's the pinnacle,
Yep.
the magnum opus of what's happening here. But it's not. And actually, ultimately, it's all about Christ.
Yeah.
Even 70 AD, when the temple was destroyed, is just the vindication of Christ. It's to show that he was the Messiah.
Yeah.
And now the rest of history is dedicated to him.
Yeah.
It's just a stepping stone. It's the first step.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is birth. Now the children are raised
Yeah.
and they grow very old. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then we're gonna see what happens to the children.
Tell us about the children, Marshall.
But let's just read.
Do it. Yeah.
Verse 9 says, "Then they will deliver you up to tribulations and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold.
Let's do that last one.
But the one who endures to the end will be saved."
You might as well just finish it.
All right, we just finished.
Actually,
that
no. Let's not
section?
do that. Let's not do that.
Here, let's deal with. Sorry. Then they will deliver you up to tribulations and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake.
To who?
Who is Jesus talking to?
His disciples.
That's-
not you and me.
Right.
Joseph Smith.
What? Right. Well, I think what's crazy is like, as a Christian, you hear this in a lot of different church circles, from the pulpit, you're going to be, thrown in prison and thrown in synagogues and all this stuff, in the last days, right?
To synagogues, huh?
Yeah, right.
Does that mean Jews will oppress us?
Yeah,
What's that mean?
Yeah.
They just use the synagogues?
right,
They turn them into prisons?
right.
Okay, go ahead.
No, exactly. I think that's a great point.
There's a first century context here.
Yes.
A flavor.
Yeah. I think you can extract the principle of the cost of following Christ, right? Like in today's real time right now, like when you read that, you don't apply that to yourself. Jesus isn't talking to you specifically,
Yeah.
you 21st century Christian or missionary, right?
Yeah.
However, but what you can say is my brothers and sisters in that Jesus was talking to did
Yeah.
endure this,
Yep.
right? And that gives me faith and gives me hope and to
persevere.
persevere like they did.
That's
right?
why he tells you beforehand.
Right.
Exactly. So you want? Actually, I don't want to cut you off.
Well, no, I guess that's just like when we read scripture, we need to read it in its proper context.
Yes, it applies to us, but it's not written to
Yes,
us.
and we need to know how to apply it like responsibly.
Yes,
you know?
and not just look for persecution in the synagogues and say, "See,
Yeah.
it was written about me."
Right.
Correct. It was not written about us.
Right.
But it is for us. I want to bring up this echoes the farewell discourse, which I believe comes after this chronologically in John 16. This is what it says in verse 1. Actually, I mean, man, you could even go before that. The Spirit of truth being poured out, all that. Anyway, but 16 verse 1. I have said all these things to keep you from falling away. So it's the same theme. He's repeating this. Okay. They will put you out of the synagogues. Indeed, the hour is coming when whoever kills you will think he is offering God or offering service to God. And they will do these things because they do not or have not known the Father nor me. But I have said these things to you that when their hour comes, you may remember that I told them to you. So, Jesus is speaking very personally here, very intimately in the farewell discourse, okay, in John 16. When you read Matthew 24, like you said, people are tempted to go, oh, this is to the entire church. Right. It's not. It's just spoken to those disciples, but he's repeating it here in John 16. He's reaffirming them that I've told you beforehand. I've said this so that you don't fall away, so that you don't crumble and draw back because you're afraid, so that you don't become like the seed that sprouted up for a time, and then in a time of persecution or suffering or whatever fell away. That you may have root in you and endure. Which you see that whole concept there. What are they enduring? It's tribulation. And this leads into like, what is the great tribulation and all of that. Sorry, I keep hitting my boomstick and sounds like outer space. So this is the same language here in Matthew 24. He says, verse 9, they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death. You'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. It's the same language here. And this actually echoes also back to Matthew 10, when he sent him out to heal the sick, raise the dead. He chose the 12, sent him out, cleanse the leper, preach the gospel to the poor, all that. This is verses 16 through 23. Behold, I am sending you out as a sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you over to courts and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors, kings for my sake, to bear witness before them and the Gentiles. When they deliver you over, do not be anxious how you are to speak or what you are to say, for what you are to say will be given to you in that hour. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved, which we're going to see that verbiage again. When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. Truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. So you see this idea that he's telling this over and over and over again. Just like he has to with us. Like we don't get it the first time. But it's a reoccurring theme. Even in this section in Matthew 10, he says this when he first sends the 12 out. Those things he says will happen didn't happen immediately. When did they happen? In Scripture.
70 AD.
Well, before that, Book of Acts.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally what you're reading in the Book of Acts. All those things.
When did this happen? 70 AD. You know how
you're just thinking of more.
No, do you know how in like Sunday school as a kid or youth group,
what's that?
The youth pastor asks a question and the answer is just like Jesus. It's like for every post mill guy.
Jay does that.
For every post mill guy, it's like the pastor, someone's asking a question. It's like 70 AD.
Yeah. What? Explain this, Patrick. 70 AD. Yeah, you just start applying it everywhere.
Like I was asking.
Why do you think you washed their feet? 70 AD.
Yeah.
You just panic and it's thinking, Oh, that's funny. But so Book of Acts is when you see all these things happening. Matthew 10, John 16, Matthew 24. They're all echoing the same warning, the same appeal to persevere because of the birth pains. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
we were on, if you want to say anything about like verse 12, verse 13, he who endures to the end will be saved. That's the same thing in Matthew 10. He repeats that.
Sorry, people are like, what's the pause? I'm just looking at the verses right now.
He has in front of him what you call a physical
standard.
Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't scroll on this one.
You know, I don't even read a
My-
Bible anymore. I just chat GPT. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Cameron's actually a robot, you
Yeah,
guys. He's AI.
I am.
That's why he can know where all the passages are.
You know, this podcast is just an experiment to see if you can figure that out.
It is just Marshall.
It's just
This
Marshall.
is just me.
And it's not even Marshall. It's just you, listener. Just kidding. That got weird.
Sorry, guys. This gospel of the kingdom, verse 14,
Yeah.
will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come.
You want to say anything on that?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were just reading this naturally, and this gospel of the kingdom, and throughout the whole book of Matthew, from the very beginning, you see the gospel of the kingdom, talk of the kingdom of God, all throughout the whole book of Matthew. Again, written to a Jewish audience, the Jews were anticipating the arrival of their king, their Messiah. And so they wanted him to come in and establish his throne and overthrow Rome. And, you know, what he was trying to do was what he did do is he came and conquered sin, and he took his kingdom, right? And so you see the gospel of the kingdom multiple times throughout the book of Matthew. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a
then the end will
testimony
come.
to all the nations, and then the end will come.
Yep.
So if we're reading this as if this is in our future, right? Which a lot of people believe and hold to.
That's why they
you'll-
evangelize so much,
Right.
so passionately.
Right, and I'm for the evangelism.
Yeah.
I'm for that. But what I've heard a lot of times is, you know, God is waiting for one. There's one elect person, if you will, that needs to be saved, and they are
Yeah.
the last person to be saved.
Yeah.
And we just need to find that person. It could be in your backyard.
Yeah.
The person could be in India. You know, the person could be Newport Beach, California. You know, who knows? You need to find that person, share the gospel, and then get us out of here.
Yep.
It's like this idea of proclaiming the gospel to. It's like, where's Waldo?
Right.
Like that's what I think it really does feel that way.
Love that book.
It's a great book.
It's so deep.
Yeah.
You know,
He's just always lost, you know?
But he always found too.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
It's the gospel, dude.
It really
Where's Waldo is
He's
the gospel.
He's the prodigal son, dude. The
Yeah.
whole time I thought it was just about finding a guy. I didn't know.
No, dude.
This is scripture, dude.
You know that guy because that guy is you, dude.
Well, he's got
You're Waldo.
316 on his shirt.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, that was crazy.
Well, and so let's put some perspective here, right?
Yeah.
This gospel will be preached to the end of the world, to all the world, then the end will come. Okay, so it's a testimony to the nations. What do you see happening in the book of Acts immediately? So before we look outside, let's just look within first.
Okay.
In the book of Acts, what are they focused on doing?
Evangelizing.
Evangelizing, taking the gospel to all the nations. They're appearing before kings. They're answering like those warnings and prophecy says, don't worry about what you'll say. The Spirit will give you what to say. I
Yeah.
mean, Stephen, Peter, Paul, like over and over again, this
Yeah.
theme happens, right? What do we get here? Okay, the end of the world. So the gospel will be preached in all the world. This is something that hangs a lot of people up because they go, how could this be, not speaking literally? How do you not see this as the final picture of all things before the end of the world, right? Let's just consider a few things. One is the Apostle Paul's writings. Okay. This is from Colossians 1, 23. I don't need to read the first part. You can go back and read it, but it's about the gospel, them believing it. It says, if indeed you continue in the faith, stable and steadfast, not shifting from the hope of the gospel that you heard, which has been proclaimed in all creation under heaven, and of which I, Paul, became a minister. In other words, to every creature under heaven is what some translations actually say. You also have, let me find it here. I'm just going off my brain right now. Romans 1.
Your AI brain.
My AI brain says, I think it's 16. No, that's, oh my goodness. It's I'm not ashamed. Da, 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 da. Okay. Romans 1, Verse 8. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you because your faith is proclaimed in all the world. Romans 16:26, but has now been disclosed and through the prophetic writings has been made known to all nations according to the command of the eternal God to bring about obedience of the faith. Colossians 1:6 as well. Colossians 1:6, which has come to you as indeed in the whole world it is bearing fruit and increasing, as it is also does among you since the day you heard and understood the grace of God in truth. And I think lastly is 1 Timothy 3:16. Great indeed, we confess, is the mystery of godliness. He was manifested in the flesh, vindicated by the Spirit, seen by angels, proclaimed among the nations, believed on in the world, taken up in glory. It's a good little creed there.
Yeah.
It takes me higher for sure. And you don't have to agree with us on this, but I think there's quite a bit of New Testament evidence with the specific verbiage that the gospel had been preached to all the nations. And that was the sign, the testimony to as a witness against those nations. It was God's court case
Right.
against those nations to vindicate his son.
And when Paul says the nations, all earth, I would argue that they're not referring to Papua New Guinea. They're not talking about, Mexico at that point in time, but the known world in that area, in that region. And so that's where people get hung up. It's like, well, Christian, and that's actually where Mormonism comes in, because they believe Jesus actually after this, because Latter-day Saints, last day saints, they believe that in order for this to really take place at its proper time, that Jesus had to go and appear and reveal himself to North America.
Yeah, to the Jews.
What?
Because they believe, like the Native Americans were Jews and all that. And
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the world here is, I believe, in reference to the known Jewish Roman world.
Yeah, could be. Absolutely. And actually, that's a good amount of time. You want to end it here?
Wow.
It's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We're trying to do shorter ones. It's tough because we want to go for another hour, but we're going to end it here and we're going to return for the next verse.
Just the next one.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we'll get more than just one verse done. But thanks for listening and stay tuned for part 4.
Yeah, if you have any topics or any questions or feedback.
Oh, you can email us.
Email us.
Oh, at...
Is it the
Average Apologist Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our assistant will email you back.
Yeah. Our AI assistant.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys. Bye.